I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners Workshop and regular meeting for November 16, 2022. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees.
Here.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
I would like to ask our Assistant Township Manager, Scott Hutt, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America,
Republic for which it stands.
God, indivisible.
Had we asked you to do that previously? First meeting, okay. Well, good, we got you in the first meeting. All right, before we begin, I need to announce that the board met in executive session to discuss litigation. All right, let's move ahead with, is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
Potential litigation.
Potential litigation, sorry.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. All in favor of moving forward with the agenda before you, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are approved, that is approved, and we can move forward. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments on agenda items only? All right. No one's running up to the podium, so we're going to move on to our consent items. Is there a motion to move into the record the consent items that are listed in the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Those consent items include the Board of Commissioners' regular meeting minutes of October 26, the HDMA monthly budget report for September, the HDMA meeting minutes of September 13, the police report for the month of October, the VMSC monthly report for the month of October, the treasurer's report for the month of October, and bills payable, paid bills in the amount of $4,618.93, and unpaid bills in the amount of $317,883.42. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. We're going to jump right into committee reports. First is Planning and Zoning Committee. Vice President Rogers.
Thank you. One item tonight is land development application for Atera Property Group, 2750 Bethlehem Pike.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have one land development for your consideration this evening. This is the Altera Property Group. They have 2750 Bethlehem Pike in for a land development approval. This is approximately a 34-acre tract, which is made up of several individual parcels, which will be consolidated into one deed. It is located, I think everybody's familiar with the Century House. And well, Aaron's doing it because my pointer's not working. The Century House on Bethlehem Pike, which has been closed for a little while, that's been purchased, and all the land around it has been purchased by the Altera Group, including the Decal Craft property just to the north and the Royal Billiards property just to the south of the Century House. So all of those properties will comprise the 34 total acres that are under development. And the proposal involves demolishing all of the existing buildings, consolidating the parcels, and then constructing a new 301,000 square foot warehouse on the property. There is that is the warehouse. There are 237 or 287 spaces, I forget exactly how many, automobile parking spaces in the front, and then there are a number of trailer spaces in the rear, backing up to what used to be the Eastern Pre-Stressed Concrete property. It was purchased by Altera as well, and that property is being used for the northbound traffic on 309 to exit from the warehouse building. You can see the driveway that continues toward the bottom of the sheet. That will run through the Eastern Pre-Stressed property, or the former Eastern Pre-Stressed property, out to Unionville Pike and provide access to northbound 309 for the traffic from the warehouse. Southbound 309 will be able to exit directly onto Bethlehem Pike. The project involves some surface stormwater. You can see the dashed lines on the right-hand side of the screen our surface stormwater management facilities. And then if Aaron goes to the elevation, that's the view looking sort of northwest on Bethlehem Pike toward the building. Landscaping, the building is set back quite far from Bethlehem Pike, and then the landscaping is along Bethlehem Pike and along the access drive. The plans have been through the typical rounds of staff reviews. There have been two sets of staff reviews generated and 2 planning commission meetings that the applicants attended. At the end of the October 18th planning commission meeting, there was a recommendation to approve the project. It was conditioned on 3 things. One was to revise the plan to show the correct parking setbacks for the trailer parking. That's been done, and we've verified that that's been done. Another was to show the access drive through to Unionville Pike. There are detail sheets that show that being done. And then the third was just a general comment to resolve all of the outstanding issues with the consultant. And that, I think, is ongoing. So with that understanding, we talked to Altera's representatives, told them that because of our meeting schedule in November and December, that we thought this is a fairly significant project. We thought it would be best to bring it in this evening for discussion, give them an opportunity to make a brief presentation, fill in any of the details that I've missed in my summary, and give you an opportunity to ask any questions. And if all goes well, then we would be
Okay.
Why
don't we-
Bob Tucker is the attorney representing Altera. He's here this evening, and he's got a cast of thousands with him.
Bob, if you could, just make sure you're speaking into the microphone. We record and televise, so.
Got it. Good evening. My name is Bob Tucker from Kaplan Stewart, here on behalf of Altera Property Group. With me this evening is representatives from Altera, our architect, traffic engineer, and our project engineer from Bowler, who's going to go into a little bit of detail explaining the changes that were made following the Planning Commission meeting. Mr. Amy laid it out pretty much everything that needs to be said. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the project conditioned on a few items. Following the October 18th Planning Commission meeting, we revised the plans and resubmitted on November 2nd. And we believe the plans address the concerns from the Planning Commission. Ken, you really took out everything I was going to say. Explain.
That was the whole idea.
Yeah, good. Easy enough. So I'm just going to turn it over to Matt Kearse from Bowler to go through the changes that were made following the Planning Commission meeting, and he's going to discuss that.
I started a real quick question.
Yeah.
You go out. The shaded area, does that represent the 34 acres entirety, in its entirety?
I'll try to multitask here. The shaded area here or these shaded areas here?
The whole thing, the building?
This
shaded
area here is the building itself. This is the employee parking, this would be the loading docks, and this is the trailer storage. And then these hatched areas are the above-ground stormwater basins.
Question differently. Can you outline the 34 acres where that
Yes.
exists?
I can show the parcel.
Yeah, there we go.
That's-
So it's the
okay.
star, yeah, these here.
All 4 of the starred areas.
What's in the starred area? Is that where the retention ponds are going? Or
Yes, these two.
And the largest star area is where the building's going to go, and the star behind it is, but that's the rear exit area?
So the building probably sits somewhere in between these two property
Does,
lines.
okay.
And then the access is right around here. Yeah, perfect. And as noted, we're combining it into one one parcel.
So a portion of that 34 acres is going to be undeveloped, and it's kind of the northern, I guess it's the northwestern part of the property.
This piece here, yeah, there are some wetlands there that we're maintaining the integrity of that, to maintain those wetlands, make sure we're not negatively impacting those.
How many employees are we anticipating at this warehouse?
125.
125.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, we could really open up the questions. I think Ken did a
I'm
stand-up
just
job.
curious about the traffic impact, because I know Unionville Pike and 309 during rush hour gets backed up pretty well the way it is now with the industrial park and B&G manufacturing and all that. I'm just wondering what the impact's going to be of having an additional 125 cars. Let's just say we even split it down the middle, half go south, half go north, an additional 60 cars at 3 o'clock or whatever time. these
Yeah,
guys
and
out.
the 125, I don't think it's one shift, but I'm going to call up Guy, our traffic consultant, who can speak to the traffic a little bit more detail.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good evening. Guy DiMartino with Traffic Planning and Design.
Evening.
We did perform a traffic study, was submitted to your township, reviewed by McMahon Associates, also submitted to PennDOT, submitted to the Montgomery County as well. I'm sorry, yeah, submitted to Montgomery County as well, because Unionville Pike is a county road. All parties have reviewed the traffic study and found it acceptable. Certainly, there will be additional traffic. We are doing improvements, in addition to the access improvements, also the existing traffic signal on Unionville Pike that will serve the signal at Penn, where the access, which is opposite Penn, which will serve as an access point for us as well. We are doing improvements to that signal. We have coordinated with McMahon Associates, because I understand there's a township project at that intersection as well, and to do some upgrades. So we've coordinated what we're responsible for, what the township already had planned at that intersection. So we are implementing some improvements, also contributing to the township's capital improvement plan through the impact fee.
Thank you.
A little bit. How are you connecting back to Unionville Pike off of here to go northbound? That chart doesn't help me.
No,
Because that looks like you're going into somebody else's property.
That's their property.
They own that also.
correct.
But
And
but then that picture looks like it's already developed.
It is.
So it's going into that parking lot?
so today, there's this parking field, or really not really a parking field, but there's an access road that is owned by Altera that's here, and part of the Planning Commission's comments was to provide an easement. That way, for any future developments, wherever it may happen, whether it's sold, that access is still there. And I think we submitted a easement plan, but also shown here. I'm going to walk up so you guys can see a little bit easier if you don't mind.
Yep, sure.
You're fine.
Here, I've got to use the mic, sorry.
Late at night, too.
No worries. Hey, it's entertaining stuff. It's important stuff. Thank you. So this is the building, obviously, we talked about, and this is the easement that we're proposing along the way to the access to Unionville. That way, access can be made throughout the entire development.
Wawa's in that top corner, right?
Yes.
And that goes straight through that traffic light. That puts you back in that traffic light coming out of your property on Unionville Pike. That takes you right into
Industrial center.
right industrial
Okay.
park. Right.
Okay.
That's so that you have a way to get out for the northbound?
Correct,
on 309.
exactly.
There are the two traffic lights you would just mention from a traffic improvement perspective. Is that traffic light and the one?
Correct.
Then they can actually go out North Penn Road to Sterling and come out that way, so it's not going to impact necessarily. It could?
Yes.
So those trucks are going to come
An
and make a
option.
left on
Okay.
North Penn Road to get to get up.
Okay.
I couldn't see it on the chart, so I
No,
appreciate
I
you
completely
Yeah, that's
understand.
good.
It's not as easy to visualize without
So
a plan.
the rendering looks like you have as many as like 50 bays for trucks. Is that about right?
The
Looks like 6 in a group, 7 in a group?
here,
Yep.
there is 54.
And there's below that, when I say below, I literally mean on the map you have it, right?
Yep, the trailer storage.
Trailer storage.
Yes. There are 68 of those?
And so when we're talking about trailers, we're talking about full 18-wheelers that can fit in there?
WB 67s, yeah.
Okay. Is this going to be a dry warehouse or is this going to be refrigerated?
At this point. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. That depends. That happens to tip my hand. Tenant that's nearby that's already in the town.
Okay.
And the parking up front, the capacity is 250 passenger vehicles.
Correct, 227, yeah.
Side of that, is that the storage area?
Yes.
That's storage, right? So there's no resident,
Self-storage.
self-storage,
Self-storage.
To the,
yeah.
to the north,
Yes,
actually, to the
yes,
left.
that is self-storage.
no residential near there, right?
Correct,
No residential around you at all that you know of, right?
surrounded by commercial.
And the reason I asked if it's going to be refrigerated or not is because if the reefers are running on the trucks, on the trailers, and it's close enough to residences, I'm going to have citizens complaining about the reefers running all night, which is why I wanted to know if it's going to be refrigerated or dry. Sure, but if there's no residences nearby, then it's not an issue. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Okay.
Are there some residents on the north side of Union?
Over here referred to?
No, north
Yeah,
side,
the other side,
the other side,
across the street.
across the street. No, across Unionville Pike.
Oh, this side?
Side.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe there are.
They're on both sides.
Both sides, right?
Both-
Sides, yep.
What's the square footage on this?
301,000 and some odd square feet.
And I'm going to look to you, just give me a comparison to other things that we've.
It would be about half again as big as the Nappen warehouse that was recently built on Bethlehem Pike.
About half of that size.
About half again as big.
Half again.
I think I'm having a problem putting that in perspective. Any conversations with the zoning hearing board and the residential properties there for noise remediation?
Now, we alerted some of the residents who are generally interested in development out in that area. We alerted them. They came to the first planning commission meeting, but they have not been back since. I know they spoke with the applicant at that time.
And we actually did appear before the zoning hearing board. It was for a height variance, but we were before the zoning hearing board.
So did we specifically mention there might be refrigerator trucks back there running?
I don't think there was a discussion relative to refrigerated trucks, but the residents that I have spoken with on Unionville Pike are pleased that the stormwater management is going in because they currently have runoff that comes from this property across theirs. So they seem happy with the fact that the stormwater is going to be controlled.
And we're
They'll
also-
have, between the two above-ground basins that are there, as Matt had represented earlier, there's a strip of wetlands that runs down there, kind of like northwest to southeast. That entire triangle will remain undisturbed, and it's currently wooded. So Matt, roughly, we're talking probably from the southern property line to where the driveway is. It's give or take, I'll say like 200 feet, maybe more. Yeah.
From here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so from here to the building's 461, so you're probably closer to the 300
So
range in there.
roughly speaking, there's give or take 400 feet, and down where the trailers would be, you're looking at give or take 400 feet, but you have an existing vegetated area that's going to remain, and then the basin that's closest to the building, actually both basins will be vegetated as well. So, you know, it certainly, if it happens that there's refrigerated trucks there, I'm not by any means saying that nobody will hear them, but there is at least a distance buffer as well as a lot of vegetation.
Old growth trees in there, something of size substantial that might,
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
The parking lot will be, I know the building's set back. How far away from the roadway is the passenger vehicle parking lot?
It's
20 yards?
290 from the street to the building, so you're probably looking at A little over 200 to the parking from the here.
From parking
Yeah,
to
to the street.
walkway?
Yeah, walkway, curb line.
Sidewalks? We're doing sidewalks?
Yes, doing sidewalks. Also adding 2 decel lanes to the access points as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about the exits there, out onto 309. And an entrance, I assume, as well, right?
Correct, yep. So these are both right-out movements only, a right-in movement here, right-in movement here, with left-in possibility from 309 there on that entrance.
Will there be anything other than passenger vehicles as opposed to trucks exiting on 309 southbound?
So there will be passenger trucks or passenger vehicles and trucks as well.
Heading southbound.
Heading south, yeah, I know
They can't
get
go north.
northbound.
Can't
No,
go
I
north.
understand. I'm just imagining a large truck getting into traffic, into 309 traffic,
They're gonna have to gun it.
going south,
Coming
going
off the
southbound.
bypass, yeah.
And it's not like it's, to make that turn, they're going to get into a second lane. They're not going to be able to just make it so tightly that they stay in the right lane. They're going to have to take up space into the left lane to make the turn.
So we have, I'll let Guy speak more about the actual configuration, but we have designed it to accommodate as much as we could that turning radius. The radiuses are designed that way so they can
So
make a
it's
sharper
not- it's
turn.
not- yeah.
Exactly. It's not a 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
tapered.
They are widening it. So it'll give more room for the swing.
Okay. And
Still going
there's,
to take them time to get up to speed.
and there's two.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 exits there on 309,
That's correct.
and also 2 ingresses as well.
Correct.
Traffic could leave that facility and go northbound?
Why don't we hear from the traffic engineer?
Guy, that's your name, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell
So-
us how this is safe.
Sure. So I'll take it one access point at a time. I'll refer to as its westernmost or the northern access on 309.
Let me ask a favor. Can you do it with a pointer up that way so that it's not just us, but it's also residents who are watching can see? Sorry to make you do the extra work, but it's not just us who will watch this presentation.
This, what I'll refer to as the northernmost access on 309, is aligned opposite to Toyota driveway, which is on the north side of this plan, the top side of this plan. This access will permit right-in movements, right-out movements, and then there's also a center-left turn lane on 309, which would permit left-in movements.
So there's left in, going north on 309, there's left in.
Correct.
Yes.
Tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Center-left turn lane in this area that exists today on 309.
No, I know where it is. I'm just crossing that traffic with 2
Our-
lanes coming southbound.
Are providing, like I said, a deceleration lane along essentially from the area where the pointer is, carrying that across the frontage up to what I'll refer to as the southernmost access. So there'll be a right turn lane for rights in at this location, and then at the southernmost access, rights out. So the southernmost access will only have rights in and rights out.
Guy, relative to the widening, you mentioned about a decel lane, but in regard to if a truck wanted to leave and go southbound 309, as one of the commissioners was asking and thinking along the lines of having a truck be able to get up to speed, the lane, the widening between the 2 accesses, that effectively can act as an acceleration lane as well, even if it's not technically an acceleration lane, correct?
Yes, it can, yes, between the 2 access points, right.
That the southernmost access, because it's right at the property line, there is no other widening there for this project.
That's correct.
So, Guy, full disclosure, I drove tractor trailer for over 6 years. Okay, I got over 1 million miles logged in a tractor trailer. The speed limit along there, if I remember correctly, is about 45 miles an hour. Okay, is that about right? Do you remember that?
I believe it's posted at 45.
Okay, so if you're turning out there, a truck's got to get into 7th gear just to hit 35 miles an hour. So he's already going 10 miles an hour underneath the speed limit, and he's pulling 46,000 pounds in the wagon if he's fully loaded. So it's going to take some time to get that momentum up. You're going to need an acceleration lane to get those trucks up to speed so they're not causing a hazard. I've also been a fireman in this township for almost 40 years, and I can tell you how many accidents we've had along that stretch of 309, and I really don't want to increase the risk of accidents and having cars slamming into the back of tractor trailers, because unfortunately, too many drivers have these in their hands and they're distracted, they're not paying attention, and I don't want people running the back of trucks coming out of there. So if possible, I'd like to see an acceleration lane so that those trucks can safely get on the 309 southbound.
Let me ask a different question. Is the rear exit, is that an overflow exit, or is that your primary access point?
Are you referring
And I'm talking
to-
about for trucks, not for passenger vehicles.
Said rear exit, are
Yeah,
you referring to this
I do.
access that goes
Yes.
down to Unionville?
Yep.
That really, it will be used by passenger cars and trucks who wish to leave the site and go north on 309.
I understand that. Then here's my question is, you guys own the property, you're gonna develop the property, you can control your own flow in and out of your own parking lot. Is your intention to have that rear exit to be used as a primary exit? Or is it just, okay, only if you're going north on 309? You could just as easily tell everyone they've got to exit that way, go up and get onto North Penn Road, and that way they can go right or left onto 309. You can make that your company's, that property's expectation. That's what I'm asking you. And you kind of answered it first, because I wanted to hear that it wasn't just like an extra exit that we used sometimes, because that would be a real problem. But do you follow what I'm saying?
I do understand the question. I can't speak to,
I'm not trying to put you on the
Right.
spot. You might not be able to answer that now. We have considerations, you guys have considerations. That's part of the process. I'm suggesting that based on what we know, which is only about a 10-minute presentation so far, that is a strikingly concerning issue. I'm more concerned about vehicles, tractor trailers, going up north on 309 and making a left into the property, crossing over two southbound lanes at any time, let alone during regular business hours. Holy mackerel. So my suggestion is that you think about using that rear exit, which is perfect. It really is. It's a life-saving scenario for you, because it gets you out into North Penn Road safely, gets you up to 309 in minutes safely, and it mitigates all the concerns that Commissioner Lee's just mentioned. I don't know if that's something you thought about, something you can consider for us, something that you can come back as a part of our discussions with you.
When you say primary entrance and exit, are you talking about just trucks or all passenger vehicles?
I'm more concerned about the trucks.
Trucks.
Okay.
I mean, we've got passenger vehicles coming out on 309 every day in all different directions. Wawa and every commercial, people can figure out how to safely maneuver that. But when you're talking about, and I'm not just talking about traffic jams, I'm talking about accidents.
Yeah, and if you would give us some time to,
Sure.
what we can do is we can look at this.
Sir,
and
can you
then-
identify yourself for the record?
Oh, sorry. Liam Sullivan with Altera Property Group. There's likely going to be additional conversations that are going to have to be had about that entry that's down on Unionville, traffic timing and whatnot. That's certainly something that we could work. How many trucks we need to get by. Absolutely, we're more than willing to entertain this, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm in quite complete transparency. This is a beast of a building, right? There's no doubt about it. You've got enough parking there. I'd have to say, unless Ken corrects me, it's probably one of our largest would be one of our largest commercial properties with the most parking that I know of in Hatfield. And that exit, that egress, getting you to that North Penn Road and coming up is going to save not just the traffic and the accidents, but I think from a liability perspective, whoever is running that organization would mandate that your trucks go back that way. You have one accident and they're serious, I don't do this work anymore. I'm an attorney. I have to tell you, it's not worth it. It makes a heck of a lot more sense to beef up the use of that rear access and make that your primary, if not almost your exclusive, use for trucks. Think it over. No one's making decisions tonight.
No. Oh,
I think that the deacceleration lane is if a truck would potentially deaccelerate through the first entrance going southbound and go into the second entrance?
So you're talking about going from the west side to the east side,
Yes.
go into that portion, the east side.
Right, so they would go through that first intersection or first entrance.
Yes, I mean, that certainly is, that's one of the provisions for it, yes.
The idea that a truck could enter that one to the westbound one if they wanted to?
So if I may, each access has a decel lane.
Right, but the second one's a lot longer than the first one, looks like. Southbound.
You're right, the second access point, or the second deceleration is longer, and the only reason for that is this lane technically is not even required based on PennDOT standards, but we felt, being 309, we should provide it. Typically, if you're going to provide a lane, the minimum length you would provide is a 75-foot right turn lane.
Right.
But once you provide a 75-foot right turn lane, you'd be left with a little piece. So we just thought it made sense to connect the dots. That's the only reason it's longer.
But how short or how long is the first deacceleration lane? The first entrance?
This one, I believe this is 50 or 175 feet.
I guess the size of the drawings throw me off a little bit. Okay.
What's our next step?
oh,
They'll discuss, you'll discuss, of course, amongst yourselves and then work with Ken?
We can relay your concerns to Anton at McMahon.
Yeah.
Anton and Guy can work together on coming up with some type of,
That would be great.
Aaron, I'd also like the neighbors to know that there could possibly be refrigerated truck trailers being stored there and refrigerator units because of the other issue we have elsewhere in the township. I want to make sure those residents are aware before we proceed.
Assuming you know who Anton is.
I do.
Hours of operation, 7, 8 till 8.
Say
So
again?
it could conceivably be 24-hour operation then.
It is, at this point, we don't have a tenant that's named.
I get that, but if someone wanted to rent it, or could run a 24/7 operation if they chose to.
As long as that was as long as that abided by any of the Hatfield Township rules.
yes,
No restrictions on our hours of operation right now. It's just,
not in a light industrial area, no.
No.
We have many.
Got you with a lot of questions. It's a big building, guys, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is, it takes some consideration, and we appreciate your coming in and fielding all of those, and we would appreciate if you just keep working with us to help us figure out how to mitigate our concerns. That would be best.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay.
I just
Thank
have
you.
one last question. The Century House. You guys are going to be tearing that down. Are you going to allow, I've seen it in the past where some of the older restaurants, they allowed people to go in and like buy the floor and stuff like that. Do you guys anticipate doing anything like that?
We absolutely would. I know I've been in contact with the fire department right now, and they would like to use that.
Close the roof.
Yeah, so couple different folks, whoever wants to get it, but certainly, I mean, if you want to get into that, if you know who I can put in, who be able to manage that, I'm happy to speak with them.
I don't know, I remember that happened a couple of times in Souderton, and people really went in, they took banisters, bar in there. I mean, there's some.
That will certainly be your prerogative if you want to do it. We can't force you
Yeah,
to do that.
that's up to you guys.
I think you should just work on the traffic at this point.
That's
Try to
fair.
recycle
That's fair.
stuff instead of just throwing stuff out.
And I agree, in my heart, I want to do that also. Again, open, if you guys come across, happy to entertain that. But yes, traffic obviously is.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to Public Works Committee. Commissioner Lees.
I don't have anything, sir.
All right, Parks and Recreation Committee, Commissioner Zimmerman.
I have lots.
80% of our room is leaving. I'm teasing. It's
We should
it's
do the
okay.
budget
You don't have to
first.
stay. No, don't
Budget
worry
should
about
have
it.
been first.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, we are.
Well, for those remaining and those of you out in TV land, we had a volunteer lunch celebration this past Saturday. The Parks and Recreation hosted a luncheon for everyone who's volunteered at a program or an event or a race or a cleanup, anything throughout the year. So we want to thank, again, all the wonderful community groups, the organizations, the local businesses, the residents and community members that support all the park and recreation and township activities throughout the year. We couldn't do it without all of you, so thanks for everyone for all your help. That time of year again, Santa, the Hatfield Township Police Benevolent Association and the Parks and Recreation Department are teaming up again with the North Pole to bring Santa to Hatfield for a holiday celebration. Join the local band, challenge accepted, as they perform classic and holiday favorite tunes. The Boy Scouts Troop 52 will be selling hot food and drinks, or join in around the fire pit to make s'mores. Face painting and balloon animals will be available for attendees. And of course, Santa himself will be taking photos with kids and families. When? Saturday, December the 10th, where? School Road Park, 4 to 6 p.m. If it does happen to rain that day, it'll be inside at the Township building. Our programs, we have the Giving Tree. It started on Monday, so help local families in need this holiday season. Hatfield Parks and Recreation and the North Penn School District are partnering again for our 6th annual Giving Tree. The tree is filled with requests from local families in need this holiday season. Visit the Township Administration lobby and take a tag from the tree and exchange it with the corresponding gift. All gifts should be new and unwrapped. And again, that's going from November 14th to December the 16th. Going to have our holiday lights contest again. So register your home for free and participate in our 3rd annual holiday lights contest. Submit 2 photos of your decorated house to holidaylights@hatfield.org. Winners will be selected in the following categories: People's Choice, Most Colorful, Most Creative, Most Traditional, Classic. Winners will be announced on the Township Facebook page the week of 12/26. So registration and photo submission deadline is December 16th. Our Get Fit classes for the fall session 1, we have yoga. We've got a mini session, stress relief for the holiday season on Thursdays in the Township building, December 1st, 8th, and 15th from 7 to 7:45, $30 a person. Pickleball will continue indoors for the fall and winter session, Mondays through Friday, 9:30 to 12 o'clock, Wednesdays from 12:30 to 3, indoor at the XL Sports, residents $35, non-residents $50. Registration available at hatfieldrec.com. So come out, we've got a lot of good events coming for the remaining 6 or 7 weeks of the year, and hope you come out and participate.
Great, that's a lot of stuff. I think I saw our solicitor quickly write down house lighting competition. I think he's in.
Going for a classic this year.
Not sure if there's a conflict of interest. We'll have to look into that. We may actually have to send that out to a different solicitor to give us a legal opinion on it, but it's okay.
Well, 12 hours, I'll be out there on Cindy Lane after Thanksgiving.
Anonymous, so that's okay. Yeah.
Anonymous, okay.
Or you can make it anonymous, I should say.
Okay, Public Safety Committees, nothing to report tonight, and Finance Committee?
That'll happen on the budget presentation for 2023.
Okay, so we're going to move right into our action items. First is a motion to commence the process for promotions related to lieutenant, sergeant, and corporal. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees,
Second.
second by Vice President Rogers. Aaron, do you want to mention this? You want to walk us through it real quick? Yeah.
I'm sure Chief.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'll
or,
help him out.
I'm pretty comfortable sitting back and listening to your soothing.
Very relaxed tonight,
he
Chief.
does.
It does.
He does.
Looks like you kicked back.
Horrible.
Thanks, Mr. President. As you know, we are a first-class township, so our civil service does oversee the process for promotions. The elected officials kick off the process. We have some upward mobility finally happening in our police department. I think Chief can talk about some of the specifics at a future date, but we will have positions available at lieutenant, sergeant, and corporal. So, opportunity for some of the officers that are not in a ranked position to leadership positions, and we will go through that in 2023. 3, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, and then at that point, once the process is completed, it comes back to the elected officials to make the actual promotions. So process, just like hiring an officer, we'll go through civil service, back to the board, and then we'll have a swearing-in ceremony, I believe, as well.
Chief, anything to add?
Oh, he said it exactly as I would have said it. and
The highest of compliments.
Honored.
Yep. All right, any questions or comments? Any from the commissioners or otherwise, residents? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Next action item is Resolution 22-15. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the amendment to the Local Tax Collection Law, Act 57 of 2022?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus, second by Commissioner Zimmerman. And it says this is related to waiving penalties in the first year of ownership if no tax bill was received. This is a new item for us. Mr. Solicitor, I think you're going to walk us through this.
Yes, back in July, the governor signed Act 57, and basically what Act 57 does, it alleviates the problem when somebody buys a home and in that first year they don't get a tax bill. They would be charged penalties, and basically what Act 57 says, if they produce an affidavit saying they didn't receive the tax bill, a deed showing that they own the property and they paid the outstanding taxes, it waives the penalty. So it makes sense. I mean, that happens a lot more times than you know. You buy a house and you don't get a tax bill for a while, and then you get hit with the penalty. So just a mechanism in place to allow for these homeowners not to get hit with some added costs so they can buy some more furniture for that new house that they bought, you know.
Okay.
We're seeking a motion to approve Resolution 22-15.
And I'm assuming it's recommended.
I am highly recommending this.
And we're assuming that this passes, that you'll coordinate with our tax collector.
Yes, 100%.
Any questions or comments? Commissioners, residents? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of Resolution 22-15, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Third item, Resolution 22-16. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the grant application for the Stewart Drive Basin renovation?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lees. Aaron, I think you have this one.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mr. President. We discussed the specifics of this project a few months ago when the board approved budget presentation.
we are.
Thanks, Justin. We're setting the mood.
Yeah, we are.
Just in case anyone wasn't going to sleep, now they're guaranteed they're going to sleep. So this item, this resolution is not changing the scope or any of the specifics of the project itself as we renovate the basin. And this is simply just an opportunity to receive some funding to help us offset the costs of the project. It's already 100% funded by the federal stimulus money that the township received, but this could, the more funds we have in that, the more good projects we can pursue if we're able to get funding elsewhere. So we're going to do the best we can to get more funding for this specific project, and we'll see where we are at that point. So this is just submitting, nothing more.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 22-16, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Gentleman there doesn't oppose our, I'm joking.
Stole my mouse.
I think you did. All right, that is approved. Okay, what we've all been anxiously waiting for, the lights have been dimmed, the mood has been set, and it is the presentation of our 2023 budget, draft budget. There is no tax increase for the 9th straight year. And at the conclusion of this, I'll see if there's a motion to advertise the ordinance for the budget adoption and the maintenance of the rates for 2023. With that, I will hand it over to our township manager.
President, didn't we agree the chief presentation?
I thought so.
I thought you were introducing him.
Since I did the update, I think it's
So Chief's going to do the first
We
450
could have
slides,
our
you're going to do the rest, right?
Perhaps we could have our new township manager, Scott Hutt, present.
Justin, edit that out, please. Already, our finance chair has already given me the symbol to speed things up, so I'll do my best. I am using a similar format in years past, so I think I can make it a little condensed this year. As Mr. President said, no tax increase for the 9th straight year. The commissioners have done an incredible job at containing costs while providing excellent services to our residents. Believe it or not, this is the 10th budget that I've presented to the commissioners. Round number. Tina thought that was funny. I'm sure everyone else does as well. But honored to present it and proud of the 23 budget that we're going to discuss tonight and grateful for the support by the Board of Commissioners to lead us down this path. Quickly beginning a quick review of 2022, we started off with swearing-in ceremony, President Zipfel and Vice President Rogers, as well as a new tax collector, Dan Reevy, which we discussed earlier with the new Act 57. And I believe Ken and Kristen snuck into that group shot amongst the elected officials there. Recapping some of our meetings, we had Mr. Dilks. The commissioners recognized him for his heroic efforts in World War II. We've had, over the years, just recently, Carmina Taylor and North Penn School District and the partnership that we're forming with this group, and we'll work together throughout that to see where that goes. Dr. Boston Road dedication, President Zipfel speaking to a very large crowd that day as we support this initiative to help Dr. Boston, who founded the VMSC and Lansdale Hospital, get the due credit for all of his contributions. Staff and the commissioners, we take service seriously, and not just throughout the day, but in the evenings as well. Often, usually quarterly, we go out and do volunteer work together to build our team, and this is a man on Main Street with all the department heads. We come together with the elected officials to help build the Habitat for Humanity homes. The commissioners do a lot of work outside of this room, and one of the most impactful initiatives is to build relationships with our local business community, and we've toured several businesses throughout the year. We have a similar pose in each of those. I think we're pretty experienced, but it's a great way to get to know our business community, to understand their needs, and see what the local government can do to help. Commissioner Andrus helping an Eagle Scout with a project and a bike stand along our Fricks Trail. We had the annual scholarship with the Hatfield PBA taking the lead to provide high school scholarships for kids going to college from the Hatfield community. Unveiled our beautiful mural. Thank you to Tina for leading us throughout those efforts. Quick video recap of this weekend. Good way to celebrate a great project this past weekend, and Tina, thank you for all the work you did for that. Room in March, led by Commissioner Zimmerman, we recognized 12 outstanding women of Hatfield. As we all remember, a great way to recognize some of the achievements by some extraordinary residents here in Hatfield. Most public improvements that we've seen in this region over the past several decades is currently being constructed. The connector road, which will connect the Sumney Town Turnpike entrance to Route 309, which has been discussed for years. We were able to be at the groundbreaking this year, and they're moving forward with that. More pictures from that event. The Aquatic Center partnered with the Red Cross to be the facility for the training videos that will be shown throughout the world for all lifeguards. Forged our partnership with the Garden of Health, which we will see the fruits of those labors literally coming up in 2023 as the garden begins to be developed and expand. We celebrated Dr. Harrison his 100th. I saw last year's budget. We celebrated his 99th last year.
Well, his birthday's in February, and he's going to be 100.
We'll have to celebrate his 101st in a few months, and Vice President Rogers read him a proclamation, as well as Commissioner Zimmerman there, and the other commissioners were there as well to support Dr. Harrison, our very accomplished resident. Beyond just the age, he's a very impressive person. We added new playgrounds to School Road Park, a capital improvement thanks to the Board of Commissioners. Had several cleanup days throughout the year with our volunteers that come together, which Ashley and her team just recognized this past weekend. This room fills up for other things besides public meetings, estate planning, among other seminars. We had 4 large concerts. We're finally back to normal. I feel like we've moved beyond 2020 and we're back to our very active calendar of service and activities for our residents. A successful summer camp, our Giving Tree, which is out in the lobby right now, where residents can provide gifts to families of low income throughout our area so they can have a good Christmas. The fun was back at the Aquatic Center. Thank you to Commissioner Andrus for a lot of his efforts and bringing that facility, not only creating it, but keeping it up to status as the premier public facility in the county. Parks and Rec events are constant and evolving, as you hear Commissioner Zimmerman's updates as they continue to grow, but all the events that we have throughout the year, this is just a portion of them. Roads paved, and that actually happened this week. The green roads that you see paved, we go on the contractor schedule, and thankfully he got in before the weather hits 20s and 30s. So the green is the 2022, but look at the colors when we look at the last 12 years. Commissioners made a major commitment over a decade ago to pave all the roads in the township in a 15-year cycle, put the funding in place to do so, and we followed through with that, and we'll continue to do that, as you'll see, with over $900,000 for paving in 2023. So looking forward, that was our recap of 2022. Moving into 23, just an overview of the organization, all the appointed boards, the commissioners appoint volunteer residents to serve on all of these committees. It's a large and complicated organization and a lot of moving parts and a lot of people involved, and we're really lucky to have a lot of accomplished volunteers and led by the elected officials here. So when you look at our budget in 2023, it's not hard to see the priorities of the Board of Commissioners. Public safety, number one. 60% of the budget is for police and fire protection. In addition to that, we see infrastructure improvement, paving roads, fixing stormwater problems, parks and rec, and open space. Getting into the specifics, again, a month ago, the commissioners publicly went through a workshop where we discussed every detail of the budget. This is just a big picture overview. General fund is roughly $12 million in Hatfield Township. This is every fund under the commissioner's control, which totals to just under $19 million. And when you add in all of the employee pension funds, the commissioners control about $45 million worth of public money and do it very well. This is every penny in and out accounted for throughout all the funds that the township operates. Where the money comes from, primary source of revenue is real estate, your real estate taxes, earned income tax, your local service tax, which is that $1 you pay per paycheck per week, $2 per paycheck if you work in Hatfield Township. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania contributes significantly to all the municipalities for pension offsets and road improvements, and then Hatfield Borough, our partner municipality, contributes as well for police services and debt payments. This is just a pie chart of revenue where it comes from, just to give you an illustration of what I just mentioned. That's the money coming in, and then where does it go out? So you as a taxpayer in Hatfield Township, you look at your real estate taxes, and we have this conversation often, and people throw out some very large numbers that they contribute to the township, and it's not something you want to we try not to debate with them, but we do try to educate and make sure people realize that 10% of your real estate tax dollars comes to the township. 80% of it goes to the school district, and the other 10 goes to the county. By far, real estate taxes pays to educate and run the school district more so than any other government entity. Earned income tax is simply half of 1%. Residents pay 1%, and we split that with the school district. See, as I mentioned before, the vast majority of expenses goes to the chief's salary. Just kidding, goes to the police department in red, as well as fire protection in purple, and other costs associated with public safety, because that is the #1 priority for local government. Some of the services that we intend to improve now that we have a growing community, I think everyone's aware of that as you drive through our town. We're going to be working on our new police station that is going to be suitable for what we think is the best police department around. Beginning the design process, the board just approved the agreement with our construction manager. We're meeting with the architect soon, which the board will discuss the arrangement with the architect at our next public meeting. Restructured admin staff to make sure we can keep up with the growing demands and the growing community. Scott Hutt joined our team. As you know, we have a community relations coordinator as well, and we don't want to talk too much about because we're hoping this doesn't happen, but we do have a new zoning officer as well that Ken's working with, and we'll continue Ken to not go anywhere. We can talk about that more again later. So total taxes, not just real estate taxes, but earned income, all taxes paid, federal income, state income, all of those taxes, when you look at a Hatfield resident and where those taxes go, you see the large portion is still school district, with the federal government being the second largest. You see Hatfield Township's a small little sliver of the amount of taxes that you pay as a Hatfield resident. So that little sliver, $729 as a median number for township residents. What will that get you in return for that investment? That gets you best police department you'll find with a new police station, fire protection, 2 thriving volunteer fire companies, public works department, which removes snow, maintains the roads, maintains all traffic signals, school flashers, bridges, open space, gets you a Parks and Rec program that we're proud of, gets you the best public swimming facility in the county. Our main park, School Road Park, provides all kinds of activities and sports. Lemons Park 2.0, which is coming our way, and most likely 2023. Some dirt moving, but 2024 we'll have kids out there using that new inclusive playground. Weicker Park, pickleball courts, Walnut Street Cabin, Tree Nursery, Melody Brook Park, Nature Preserve, Stratford Park, our dog park, an arboretum, street hockey, open space, trail system. So for that little sliver of the pie, where all of the local tax dollars are going to the federal government, school district, the state, the county, for that little sliver, the residents here receive the return on their investment in what I just showed, which we think is pretty good value. Moving forward to 2023 as well, some grants, big grants we're going to be pursuing. Wellshore Villa, we're finalizing the design to fix that intersection. We're going to pursue funding to build the intersection. Police station. Commissioners put the township in a great position to be able to borrow to build the station without any additional funding. However, we're going to pursue grants aggressively, and we're confident that we're going to bring in a significant amount of money from the state and other organizations to help offset the cost of that from the local taxpayers. Liberty Bell Trail, we've talked about, already received $1 million to build a portion of that. We're going to continue to pursue funding to make the connections to Lansdale and Franconia and all the communities around us. And FEMA grant that we're still waiting on. I think FEMA has blocked my emails because I email them every 3 days asking what is the status of these 4 homes, because we have 4 families that aren't rebuilding their house because they're afraid it's going to flood. They're in a place of limbo similar to the residents of Orvilla that we worked with for that intersection improvement. So once we hear back from FEMA, hopefully we have some great news to share publicly with these 4 families. But that's something at this point it looks like it's going to fall into 2023. Quick highlights of the 23 budget. No tax increase, like Mr. President said. Police station design. We're going to pave Frick's Trail, a trail that is used very often. A lot of feedback from people in strollers, wheelchairs, rollerbladers, cyclists. They want to see it paved, and we're going to pave that in 2023. Clements Park expansion. I said before, $900,000 in the paving roads. We have the federal stimulus money to help us invest in our stormwater. We're going to digitize all of the township property files in 2023, which the commissioners funded, so we'll be able to access all of those electronically and be able to share those with residents via email rather than coming in and looking through files. The reserve fund, which I remember in this room created 9-10 years ago, about making sure we're financially in a good position, and we chipped away at that, and now we're at $1 million reserve, which it will sit. Finalize Welsh and Orvilla, and then Garden of Health, where the community will come together to help grow vegetables for low-income families in the region. So at this point, commissioners, like in years past, if the board approves this to move forward, the budget will be posted in the lobby and will be posted for 20 days. The board will then consider approval on the 21st of December, and finally our little farewell to a legend here in Hatfield who's not going anywhere, but this is our gathering, and this just shows us as a group, and it's just something that we take very seriously. We don't take the support of this community for granted, We're truly honored to serve this town, and we hope to continue to do so for many years to come. So, Commissioners, thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for all of your leadership in getting us into this position financially and otherwise.
And as our township manager, Aaron, went through it, I will tell you that every time he talked about great leadership, you really could have inserted his name in each one of those locations, because I say this, people, maybe I sound like a broken record, but the 5 of us are volunteer elected positions. We are decision makers from time to time at our various meetings. The day-to-day operations are run by our township manager and our fantastic staff. And he does an absolutely fantastic job. The phrase that I've used for him over and over is that when we found him, we caught lightning in a bottle. And so some of you may know that's why we held on to him so dearly this year. And we're very pleased and extraordinarily happy to know that he's on his 10th budget and many, many more. And we can't be any happier that we get to sit through your slides each year. Let them be many, many more. And so thank you for the way you lead our township. It really, all the credit goes to him and his entire staff. So great job.
Thank you.
On that, I appreciate that. On that note, I made a major mistake, and I have to make sure we recognize Dave Bernhauser in the back, our finance director, who does all the real work.
Good job, Dave. Good job.
I do the fancy pictures. He does the real work behind it that actually matters. So you can't forget Dave's efforts. But thank you, Mr. President.
Great job, Dave. Great job. Thank you. Okay. Questions or comments? No? All right. Well, then there's a motion to advertise this ordinance. I'm assuming that this is going to go smoothly. Is there a motion to advertise the ordinance for the budget adoption and maintenance tax rates for 2023? The chair will make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by us. You are Finance Committee, so I should have let you do it. Commissioner Andrus has seconded. Very important second, I might say. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of advertising the ordinances in the manner described, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Thank you again for all the hard work all year long. Thank you. All right. Staff reports, do we have anything? Done? Mr. Solicitor? Chief? Nothing to report. Okay. Citizens' comments? Any citizens' comments? All right, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn, or is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by everyone. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.